Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show. And today we're going to ask the question, is it the season to be bearish? We have Rektember coming up. Will history repeat? What is my plan? What is my strategy going forward? Plus, we have Jackson Hole. Fed Powell is going to speak. We're going to look at the data and see what the SPY typically does in the week after, and a whole bunch more. Before we do that, smash the like button. This will help get this channel out to more people, and of course does help support the channel. I do appreciate that. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Smash the subscribe button. You'll get the daily update. So first of all, let's look at the seasonality of Bitcoin. They don't call it Rektember for nothing. It's the only red there in a sea of green. And of course, in August, it's really hanging in there to be green. Maybe at the end of this month, that could flip red. However, it seems to be that people sell off, leading into what is typically and historically been a bearish month for Bitcoin, also for stocks as well. Not as heavily, of course, but it tends to be a little bit of a flat or downward sloping month there also for the SPY. Let's talk about Jackson Hole. Jerome Powell's going to speak today at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You look at 5 days after, to be determined, of course. 2024, we saw minus in 2023, minus in 2022, minus in 2020, and of course the only positive year we had was in 2021, which a very, very small positive there of 0.58% there. And he did have a dovish tone, but he hasn't been dovish recently. And listen, we have the August CPI and inflation numbers. They're going to come out on September the 11th. So I don't expect him to be dovish today. It would be very shocking and very surprising, particularly the PPI numbers would be hot. I think he'll roll out the same rhetoric that he's had, which is overly hesitant for any rate cuts. And then after September 11th, a week after the FOMC meeting where he will decide on the rate cuts, and there are no guarantees that there will be any rate cuts there. I think a lot will depend on what the data comes out the week before that. However, usually the market is down after he speaks, and this has always been in August, of course. He kind of leads into that bearishness of September. I think September quite possibly will play out the same there, unless, of course, we get those rate cuts in mid-September, and then it could take off like a rocket ship with rocket fuel. So a lot of it depends on what does happen with the inflation and the rate cut decision there, okay? Let's have a quick look at the Bitcoin charts, and I tell you how my strategy is and what I'm doing and how it's playing out at the moment, okay? So first and foremost, you see the Tribal Trades indicator. Or let's have a look at it from down here, well, actually in September, all the way through. And this is what people really do struggle with. The number one question I get asked is, how do I know when to buy? I don't want to buy a dip that keeps dipping. I don't want to be dollar cost averaging all the way down. The Tribal Trades Indicator gave a beautiful entry here in September, rode it all the way up, and there it was in December. It gave the beautiful red dot bearish reversal signal. That was the place that you could have got out, or at least taken a heavy amount of profits, or closed a large part of the position there. And then, of course, we came all the way down and we got a new green dot there. It's hard to see it there, isn't it? Right there, hiding. I'm going to get rid of this trend line here for you so you can see it. There's that green dot there. And, of course, rode that all the way up again. We got out at the end of May, got back in there on the 23rd of June. And then, of course, there has been this bearish reversal pattern that initially it kind of went sideways, and then it did play out. I'm telling you, this is how accurate it is, that this pretty much timed the top or pretty close to it. And you can actually flip to the daily time frame and see how accurate. Usually I'll go to the weekly, and if I get that red dot, I then jump to the daily, and then that gives me my get out there. And you can see on the 14th of August, that would have been the time, which is pretty much right at the Bitcoin top. It has absolutely nailed it. So you do need to flip between the daily and the weekly, sometimes on the 3-day time frame as well there. Still got you out on the 14th of August there. Absolutely fantastic. And of course, I look for confirmation, which is below the 9 EMA on the daily. So not only did we get the red dot, it broke below the 9. The 9's now below the 20. I'm thinking at some stage we come up and retest this 9 EMA. And if it's going to be bearish, we'll reject from there. And this was my target that I gave in the Discord, actually, all the way down. I said $111,000, which is where the 100 EMA. But look, if September plays out bearish as usual, I would actually expect us to come down to this $103,000 level. This might be a bit higher by then, of course. The 200 EMA on the daily and the 200-day moving average down at 100K. That would be my expectation for a normal bearish September. However, if we get really cool low CPI data on September the 11th, then we may not come down and hit those levels. Of course, we could come down and hit those levels before September 11th there. So there's a lot that can happen, and I'll keep updated on this channel. And so for me, the simple strategy is this, and I think this is a win-win situation. I get out of the market on the red dot, particularly on the weekly combined with the daily, and that proved to be a superb decision. And then I get back in on the green dot on the weekly, or of course on the daily time frame. I keep an eye on both. Now, why I feel this is a win-win situation, because if this is the end, if this is the top of the bull market, and most people don't believe that, and that's okay, it may not be, but what if it is? We have to consider that. Then I've sold at the top, number one, and I'll short the market all the way down to the bottom of the bear market, where I will be in cash and I'll be able to buy it all back way, way cheaper. If it's not the end, and this was not the top, and Bitcoin is going to make a higher high, then I'll just get back in on the green dot when it does arrive, and I get back in and I'll ride it to the top. But I will have bought back way lower, because I'm not just holding up here blindly. And that's where people do struggle the most. I hear they're not sure, oh, when do I buy? Is it a dip that just keeps dipping? The tribal trades indicator, one indicator to rule them all, gives you a signal right at or near the bottom and gives you a signal right at or near the top. You can see how accurate that has been for trading. And would you rather sell at 124, and let's just say this does turn around and 111 is the bottom, and buy it back 111? Oh, I can't watch the charts. You can't look each day for a red dot once a day or a green dot once a day. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days already. You don't have to, spend a lot of time looking for the signal. It'll appear and you take action based upon what is seen there. So that's my strategy. I think it's a win-win situation. And so there's no green dot. There's no break above the 9 EMA. We trade the trend. The trend is our friend until the end, and then we start a new trend. But remember, even though it can be bearish on the larger time frames, you could have a short little pop. It could come down. I would think, hey, we could come down and touch 111 and then bounce back to 114 and then see what happens when the 9 EMA, and then maybe capitulate further. That would be what I would lean towards at the moment. But of course, it breaks through, then we'll get some kind of a green dot or green arrow, and I'll be able to jump back into the Bitcoin trade there. And again, it just takes checking the charts once a day to see whether or not there is a green dot or a green arrow there, or if it is broken back above the 9 EMA on the daily. Now, of course, you can front run these situations. If you see the 50-day moving average, or if we see the 100 EMA on the daily hold, there could be a trade there. And if it goes back up to the 9 EMA, there's a good amount of money that can be made. And even better, if it continues up, then you got in a lot earlier and you're able to do what I call is about front running the trade. And the reason why I like front running the trade is if the green dot fires off, or if this 50-day movage holds and we come up to the 9 EMA and it rejects, we actually stop out of the trade and profit. Okay, we're stopping out of the trade and profit. This is what I'm teaching in the Tribal Trades Discord at the moment, about learning to stop out of trades in profit rather than stopping out of trades in loss. And if it happens to go through, then we've got in the trade much earlier than the 9 EMA, and we can run this all the way up, and then we get that red dot, and of course we stop out in much more profit there. And so, for example, let me give you an example. If the 100 EMA holds here, and we enter here, and it comes up to the 9 EMA, even if it rejects, we're stopping out in profit. So that's how I'm playing this. And of course, if you get in at the 100 EMA and it comes up to the 9 EMA, it stops out, you stop out in profit. If it breaks through, you continue on the trade. And you can actually add to the trade here on the 9 EMA. So that's how that's working. Let's have a quick look at the SPY. And of course, I'm now out of the SPY trade. And so that finished. We got the red dot on the weekly. And this trade, we got in all the way back in April. Here, the tribal trades indicator gave us that wonderful entry. We've been able to ride this all the way up. Finally got a bearish reversal. There was a bit of a fake out, but now that bearish reversal is playing out. These bearish reversals don't always play out automatically. Okay, sometimes you have to be a little bit patient. There it is there. You got the bearish reversal there. Of course, this bearish reversal played out right away, came down, then went back up again, and now we're to the downside. Now, of course, we're below the 9 EMA on the daily. Maybe there'll be a bit of a pop that will come back up, retest this 9 EMA. If we reject then they're likely to be, we could come down to the 50-day moving average, which is down at 624, okay? That would be my target to the downside on the loss of the 20 EMA on the daily. We also have to look at where the 20 EMA, the 9 EMA on the weekly is just above that at 626. So it might actually stop short and just find some support there. Of course, if we lose that level, that would be quite bearish there, but maybe that would be my September play. And what I'd actually personally like to see in September there. And of course, I'll look to get back into the SPY trade. Look, if the SPY breaks back above the 9 EMA on the daily there, that would be where I would look to get back into a SPY trade there. I might trade the SPXL, which is the 3X. It gives me 3X gains on the SPY. I would probably take that trade there for the SPY, and that would be fantastic to the upside. And of course, for the SPY, what's the level we're looking to get back above? The 9 EMA on the daily, for those who are listening in the car or while they're working, is at 638 at the moment. That's the big level that we need to get back above. Right now, it's struggling with the 20 EMA on the daily, which is at 635, and we really don't want to lose that level. We've had a couple of wicks below. That would be very difficult if we were to fall away there. Then the 9 would cross over the 20 and would be quite bearish, and this would be, that 626 and 624. My likely target is the downside. So that's some TA for both Bitcoin and for the SPY. Let's have a look at the PLTZ trade that we took in the Discord. Gave this entry down here at about $8.15 all the way back where it was. I actually shared this on YouTube multiple times, so you all could have joined us in this trade. This took off like an absolute, there's the entry I gave, took off like a rocket ship all the way up to almost $12, the 50-day moving average there, and absolutely a fantastic trade. And you can see here, many of the Discord members got on the trade. I love this from Jose. Thank you, Mark. Made a total of $600 on this trade, PLTZ. And you can see I gave this in the stock plays section here. There it was. I gave it on the 18th of August at 5:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and had a few days to get in this trade here. There was the entry that I gave at $8.15 there. Absolutely fantastic. You can see the tribal trades indicator again crushing all the way to the upside. Actually took profit there. I got back in the trade then and closed out of the trade there. And of course, it's been a little bit flat, but if we do see the SPY roll over, then possibly there could be some more downside to Palantir. You might ask, what is PLTZ? It's the 2x short Palantir. So if Palantir goes down, you can make money to the upside. This is what I teach in the Tribal Trades Discord, teaching how to also make money on the way down. So if the market is going down, then you can make, just like April is making money here, going short, there it is, bang, you can make money going down as well. And I teach how to make money on the way up and also how to make money on the way down as well. And that is important because you just don't want to be sitting there waiting for the market to rebound. You can be making money as the market goes down. Now, of course, the Tribal Trades Discord is currently closed at the moment. Okay, so if you're looking to join the Tribal Trades Discord, you have to get on the wait list. How do you get on the wait list? There is a link below in the description of this video. You might need to click the more button. That will pop out. There is a wait list link there. And when I opened the Discord in January, originally started it, it was open. I opened it again in June. Okay, so it was many months later, it was opened. And then I will open it again sometime before the end of this year. But the sooner you get on the wait list, the sooner you're going to get access. And of course, if anybody is not able to use their Tribal Trades subscription and does not renew it, then I am able to move people off the wait list early into the main part of the Discord. And I have been able to do this this week for some folks. And so that's worked out really well there. Okay. So that's how that all works. And of course, the Tribal Trades indicator comes as part of the Discord. You can't get it any other way but being part of the Tribal Trades family. You don't have to pay extra for it. You just pay for the Discord and you get the Tribal Trades indicator and all the other channels and educational content as part of that. Well, that's all we have time for today. So until the next episode or until I see you on the Discord, happy trading.